number of reps have gone up for the guys who are getting the reps in the game. So their volume has had to increase.
It's 64 degrees at 12 o'clock. Time in temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our three sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
Hey, hey.
This is Helmets and Heels
On 1010XL, switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
We'll get to the Jaguars in a second, but we have to give a shout out to the Jacksonville University Dolphins men's basketball team that took down Virginia Tech last night in Blacksburg 74-64. That's right. Round of applause is deserved. And then the Ospreys today in men's soccer in the first round of the NCAA tournament takes on West Virginia in a very chilly, very frosty type of day. But yeah, I wanted to shout out the local sports team.
Giant Slayers. We love to hear it. It's JU's first win over a Power 4 opponent since 2010.
Wow.
That's 14 years, folks. The last time they beat a quote-unquote high major team was VCU back in 2022. Jordan Mincy, of course, at the helm of that victory as well. But look, hey, I would love nothing more, than for a collision course between Matthew Driscoll's Ospreys, Jordan Mincy's Finns, and the A-Sun Championship. Both teams were picked to finish in the middle of the pack in the men's basketball standings between 7 and 9, respectively. And so let's prove them wrong. Although we have seen a couple other teams from the A-Sun go on the road, i.e. Austin Peay and Lipscomb, and if not upset a Power 4 outfit this non-conference portion of the season, then at the very least take them to the brink. So I think it's going to be a good season in the A-Sun ahead.
Yeah, it's currently, speaking of the A-Sun, it is currently 38 degrees in Morgantown, West Virginia, with snow on the way.
I was just about to
those
say-
boys stay warm, Taylor.
I was just about to say, I feel like soccer, it has to be awful to play soccer in the cold because, number one, I hate running in the cold because it's nice because you're not sweating, but it's hard to breathe when you're in like those temperatures, but also everything hurts. So like you get hit and
The
that
ball
ball's
hits
hard.
you, it hurts so bad. Yeah, we played one time. We played at Clay County, and the temperature was like hovering right around freezing, but there was a drizzle. And I remember my coach at one point in time looked back at our sweeper, who was very thin, and she was like, her lips are purple. Like, I don't even think we can play this game. She is not okay. Yeah. And at halftime, they went into their locker room, and they made us stay on the sidelines. Our parents had like a tarp for us, but they didn't even let us go inside. I was so mad. We lost, and I think I gave up a PK or something. Not as a keeper, but defensively, they called a foul against me that led to a PK. I was so angry.
We do have some Virginia Tech fans on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures.
Get out of here.
Which, of course, you guys can get in on the conversation at 641-1010. I think, is this Charles? I think this may be our good friend Charles, of course, the father of our favorite golden retriever in all of Jacksonville, Florida. He just texted in, and Charles said if I hadn't had a rough enough time this fall with the Hokie men. So football, basketball. I love Mike Young. Really appreciated when he brought that Wofford team to the NCAA tournament here in Jacksonville back in 2019. Was so gracious with his time. I've been able to keep in touch with him. So don't want to see that happen to anybody. But if you are going to lose to any, low major school, I hope it's Jacksonville or the University of North Florida.
I will say, too, because when we were talking about the weather just now, I saw a tweet, and this is probably a conversation we are going to have more as the college football playoff comes. But the weather right now at schools that would currently be hosting the college football playoffs in a month: Ohio State, 32 degrees and snowing; Penn State, 35 degrees and snow and raining; Indiana, 32 degrees and snowing; Notre Dame, 31 degrees and snowing.
Yeah.
Have fun, SEC, and
that's not, you're right. That's not going to be fun for them. I wonder how they could practice to try to simulate it. Like, they're college students, so, in theory, they're students. You can't just take them up north and say, okay, go practice in 30-degree weather. Like, they have to stay on campus. So that will be very fascinating because we've never had that situation before with teams playing in the playoff on college campuses. All right, we will talk about your Jacksonville Jaguars. And I do wonder, what if Shad Khan doesn't make any changes? What happens this offseason if the GM is the same and the head coach is the same, because the last few days, everyone on the radio station, everyone around town is talking about who should be the next head coach, who should be the next GM, but there's no vacancies yet. What if Shad Khan doesn't make changes? I hate to even say it out loud.
Do you want to incite the text line and the MyBookie Digital Studio chat line? Because that's what I think.
They're going to have some harsh words.
That's what your reaction would be if he made no changes at all, would be a riot. But this is very different than 2019, folks, when many were surprised to see Doug Marrone and Dave Caldwell returned, but at the very least, Tom Coughlin was shown the door, even if Shad Khan's hand was forced by the NFLPA memo that said that they were advising free agents to not come to Jacksonville. And that obviously was such a blow that someone had to go. I feel like we're far beyond that situation. In that scenario, from what I can report and from what I've been told, largely, Doug Marrone and Dave Caldwell made the argument that we've never actually had the opportunity, the two of us together, to try to get this thing right. And even if it requires a teardown, even if it requires just simply cleaning up the mess and maybe Gardner Minshew doesn't turn into the quarterback we hoped and thought he could potentially be, we at least will give it a try. And that deliberation took about 48 hours after Black Monday before the decision was finally made that both head coach and GM would be retained. I think we are far beyond that situation. And so that's where I can't allow my brain to go to that, Lauren, just because that was a 6-win team. This team still could finish with 6 wins, with 6 still to play, and the Jaguars are figured to be favorites in at least 4 of those games.
Not if Trevor doesn't play, though. I'll keep adding that caveat. If Trevor Lawrence doesn't play, I highly doubt the Jags are favored in any of the games.
Maybe the Jets at home, because
right now, wouldn't you take the Jets over the Jags?
Apparently Woody Johnson was trying to bench Aaron Rodgers, so I don't know about that.
Maybe that would have helped at some point in time. I mean, like I said, Taylor, I don't even like thinking about it. I don't even like saying it out loud. But we can't completely rule it out because it hasn't happened yet, and we all thought it would.
And to me, then that means that we'll have the same cycle where there'll be some free agent moves where that will give a little bit of hope to fans, and fans will be mad for all of January, February, and there'll be people who won't renew there will be people who will not renew their season tickets.
Absolutely.
And if they haven't already decided that, honestly, and that'll be kind of a conversation going into once we start getting into the combine and draft and free agency talk. And then free agency will come, and there'll be these whirlings of things that will happen, and there'll be like 1-2 good moves made to where it gives you a little bit of hope, like, okay, maybe they're trying this time. And then you get to the draft, and they'll trade back 75 times and then draft a couple guys that some people like and some people hate. And then we'll get back to camp, and camp will be like, man, these guys look really good. They did it again. It'll be that again. It'll be literally the exact same thing over again, because that's been the repetition with this regime.
I promise you, if it's the same regime, I will not tell you that this team is going to be good when I see them at training camp and when I see them during the preseason. Look, Shad Khan gets to do whatever he wants to do, and it's on his timeline. We've said that. And if he wants these guys to earn the paychecks that they're going to get, then I understand all that. But there will be, I think, a massive decrease in season tickets sold if these guys run it back. Like, I can't even imagine how many people will avoid going to that stadium if they're both back.
And we've talked about we talk about the 2017 season of how good the city felt, and even end of 2022 heading into those playoffs and that Chargers win, of how different the city feel is when they're winning, when it's winning football. Yeah, I mean, everybody's wearing Jag stuff. There's flags flying on cars. There's flags in front of houses. Every grocery store or whatever you go into has the merch everywhere. And if you want to completely kill that, keep everybody that's here right now. If you want to completely just frustrate everybody to the point where they're like, I don't even care anymore, which my thing yesterday when I said it's like being that kid of rather than being in trouble, your parents say they're disappointed in you. If you want an entire city to be disappointed in your organization, keep everybody.
We also encourage you to interact with the program at the MyBookie Digital Studio chat line. All you have to do is search 1010XL on YouTube, click the live video. You should see helmets and heels and our wonderful faces. Click on that and you can get in on the chat there. Floyd says anarchy. That's what he would do if the Jaguars made absolutely no changes. Robert says, wouldn't have season tickets either, but most of all, I wouldn't allow you to have a new stadium, especially because you're not worth it.
That's happening regardless.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything we can do now at this juncture, Robert, to stop that. That part will be happening. Hef points out the valid point, although it's such a fine line. TV money is worth more than the ticket money, unfortunately, and he is not wrong. Ultimately, so long as you have a TV rights deal, which obviously the Jacksonville Jaguars and the National Football League do, ultimately, so long as the game is being broadcast to X amount of households nationally, and when you consider that the Jaguars certainly play a couple of marquee names, whether that be, this current season playing the NFC North, the Houston Texans right now, many people believed going into the season that they would be a team on the rise across the league, then you certainly could draw some national interest in terms of how many viewing markets want your game, even if it's not to watch the Jaguars, it's to watch the opposition. And in turn, it doesn't matter because you're getting money there. And so what does that compel the owner to do when it comes to actually putting butts in the seats, especially when you're going to have a limited capacity stadium in the next 2 years?
But it is embarrassing as an owner.
Right. That's the part that
if there's not fan support and if you're losing.
Hell, I mean, let's bring this full circle to Virginia Tech. I was scrolling through the tweets on Twitter of Virginia Tech fans after JU men's basketball defeated Mike Young's squad up in Blacksburg last night, and the number of tweets that were screenshots or actual pictures from the arena of the lack of fan support. And then a report from one of the reporters on Press Row in the press box that the athletic director actually up and left in the final 10 minutes of the ball game. Now, he probably could make the argument that he had other things to attend to, but they were down double digits to a team from the A-Sun Conference. And so that at some point in time, that egg yolk on your face is going to affect you emotionally and personally, regardless of if you're making money through ticket sales, regardless if you're making money through TV revenue, and so you say whatever to the former.
But it does feel nice when you're sitting on the Kismet. All of that sadness
worries a little less.
Yeah, anger, misery, the losses all piling up. It does feel at least a little bit better the moment you walk on that yacht's doors. I'll give people at least like one stat, Taylor, to have some optimism. This Jaguars passing defense, as we know, is the worst in all of the league. Well, the 2020 Lions got this stat from Gus Logue, our own Gus Logue. The 2020 Lions are the only team in the past 25 years with a worse pass defense than this year's Jaguars, okay? Yeah. Where do the Lions sit right now, 4 years later, in terms of passing touchdowns allowed in the league? They're tied for the best with the Bears. So it doesn't take that long, and we've talked all about the Lions offense as well, and the culture and everything. It doesn't take that long to turn certain things around.
But you have to make changes.
But
you can't just sit there and hope that things magically change.
Right. When the Lions offense wasn't going according to plan, what did Dan Campbell do? He fired the guy that was calling plays, and he promoted Ben Johnson.
Which we heard from a couple Lions fans in the last few days and weeks since, of course, the Jaguars-Lions ill-fated matchup this past Sunday that have clarified for us. Ben Johnson was not promoted immediately after Anthony Lynn was let go by Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell actually did call the plays those final few games of that season, which I think is important in light of, man, oh man, the rich, you need to stop getting richer / complaining about your champagne problems. I saw Lions fans complaining, what exactly does Dan Campbell do around here?
Yeah, I saw that too.
I was just like, dude, please. I know you're at the mountaintop now. Don't forget where you were.
They're on in the last 10, 11 years, they're on their 6th offensive coordinator. So it took them time to figure it out. But the one thing they didn't do is wait to see if something is going to be figured out. It doesn't just magically fix itself. And that's part of the problem is you want to play this waiting game. And it is this line. It's this gray line of being patient, but also being aware of what is not working. And unfortunately, the Jaguars don't know. They haven't been able to figure that out.
If we did our radio show and none of us watched football and we just showed up every day and we talked about it, but we never watched it, people eventually would be like, oh, they're not very good at their jobs. Yeah. Well, we've been watching football, and those guys are not very good at their jobs. So time to make changes, like we said. All right, Mia's My Bookie picks are next. Let's get it from Jaguars football to some winning picks. That is next on Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
High school, college, and pro.
As good as it gets.
Your home for the most play-by-play is 1010XL.
Do the Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
It's the time of year all our customers love. At Garber Auto Mall, every 2024 must go. Take advantage of thousands in discounts on all new Chevy, Buick, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Ford. Visit us in Green Cove Springs or at GarberAutomall.com. And remember, at Garber Auto Mall, there's always a little room for wiggle.
Do the Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
David again with Royal Pest Services. TAP Insulation stands for thermal, acoustic, and pest control. Keep your home cool, noise out, and pests dead. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to schedule a free inspection.
Hey gang, Prosser here, telling you once again about Chad and Sandy Newman. Mortgage rates are down, creating more active buyers and sellers. If you've been waiting, now is a great time to sell your home before more homes flood the market, driving down prices. So maybe you want guaranteed no-hassle home sale, but don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. They can handle that. You see, Chad and Sandy can take every problem you think you have and replace it with a promise. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. The success stories are rolling in. Mike and Lisa in McCormick. We inherited a family home that came with equity but also a mortgage. We needed to sell fast to avoid extra expenses on a second mortgage. We heard about Chad and Sandy on the radio and called. Everything they say on the radio is true. The home sold in 3 days for full asking price. Call Chad and Sandy today, 904-414-6200, or go to chadandsandy.com. That's Chad, ANDSANDY.com.
Bolt City AC, heating that rules.
Is your AC ready for the holidays? Bolt City Heating and Air ensures your AC stays in tip-top shape. We know that a clean AC is a healthy AC. Upgrade yours for just $96 a month and enjoy free duct cleanings with your new system. Plus, ask about our 0% financing options.
Bolt City AC, we got the crew. Bolt City AC.
Visit BoldCityAC.com.
Atlantic Self-Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self-Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving? They can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
Value or flavor? Price or taste? Why choose when you can get both with everyday deals at Sonny's? Right now, you can get the pork big deal for $10, the pork and rib combo for $12, and all you can eat ribs for just $19.99. Yep, you heard right. All your favorites are now available all day, every day. And that's why it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
Looking to elevate your game night experience? Look no further than Best Bet. We're not just a card room, we're your destination for excitement, fun, and big wins. Whether you're a seasoned player or new to the game, we have something for everyone. Join us at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, or St. Augustine for thrilling tournaments, exciting promotions, and a vibrant atmosphere that will take your game night to the next level. Elevate your game night at Best Bet. Visit bestbetjacks.com to learn more. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Need protection? Call Craig and Christine Kaprosky at Goosehead Insurance. The Kaproskys are a husband and wife team committed to finding you the right coverage at the right price in just a few short minutes. For home, auto, flood, or specialty insurance, Craig and Christine Kaprosky are the answer. Craig.Kaprosky at Goosehead.com.
Joint replacement surgery is always a tough decision, but relief from chronic pain may be just around the corner. Dr. George Bari here, and there's a lot to consider to make sure you get the proper diagnosis and best path back to the range of motion and mobility you had. Age, lifestyle, and overall health all play a part. Let the team at Bari Orthopedics give you a full analysis to help you make the best decision. Log on to BariOrthopedics.com or call the office to make an appointment. With offices across Jacksonville and ready to help you feel good again, we'll get you back on the road to recovery at Bari Orthopedics.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Man, jack of all trades, masters of none? It just feels like at every turn nowadays, every company can do all work. Not us. Hi, it's Stevie Beatrice here, second-generation plumber right here in Jacksonville, Florida. We are your master plumbing company that only focuses on all your plumbing needs. So for your next plumbing job, don't call another Jack. Call Beatrice Plumbing, where plumbing is what we do and plumbing is what we're great at. Beatrice Plumbing, here to help.
Are you ready to upgrade your home? Experience the winning combination of style and performance with Renewal by Andersen. Energy-efficient, custom-built replacement windows and doors. Right now, save 20% on your entire project. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months. This offer expires November 30th and restrictions apply. Renewal by Andersen, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com for details.
License number CGC 1527613.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. I was telling the ladies a story recently about a home and kind of if these walls could talk kind of thing. And I basically just said I would never live in a house where murder was committed. And Taylor, you said
I would.
Because Taylor, if you don't know, loves all things.
I love spooky stuff and
Yes,
like real
horror
crime
movies.
stories. Yeah, like give me like the majority of things I watch if I'm not watching football are
Scary
whether it's,
movies.
Yeah, scary movies or like cold case shows and like that type of stuff.
Like most people can't sleep after that, and you like volunteered.
You texted
to
me a
watch
few
it.
weeks ago, and you're like, "I'm watching. I can't even remember a Halloween or something."
Yeah.
And you're like, "I don't know how you fall asleep out of this." I was like, "I sleep better." after I get
So
a little
crazy to me.
spooky.
All right, we were talking about the Jags, and some listeners wanted to weigh in as far as if Shad Khan doesn't make changes, then they kind of fill in the blank.
Yeah, so I made a comment saying that the season tickets will drop massively if they bring everybody back. And I said, if people haven't already made that decision, honestly, because I think, and we have actually heard people here on the station say they're not doing it. Like it's the same thing over and over again. So some of the ones, someone said the most, 859, send us your names too in these so I can say your name with the text. If not, I'll use the phone number. But 859 says the most Jaguars thing ever. We win 5 of the last 6. Con thinks they finally got the problems fixed and there's hope for next year. In reality, we have the same exact thing for the next year and we suck. I'm on my 10th season as a season ticket holder. If they run it back next year, I'm staying home. I hate saying that because I love the Jaguars. Another one, 923 said, my wife and I took our daughter to her first game this year and it was fun. It was so fun. We are considering season tickets for next year, running it back with the same crew as a non-starter, and we will not consider season tickets if no changes are made. So just in those two, by the way, you're talking to people who have had season tickets for 10 years who don't want to do it. You're also talking about people who are bringing their daughters for the first time and had an absolute blast and don't want to do it because of just in this short experience that they've had so far.
Must have been the Colts game, by the way, that they went to with that they
That
had
was
fun.
fun.
That's the last time.
No,
someone
I
had
think
fun at
I
Everbank
saw
Stadium.
on the text line they previously texted in. It was right before the Packers game, so they had fun at the Packers game, which obviously
It was a
came
good
down to a
game.
last-minute field
Yeah,
goal.
yeah.
It was a fun game.
That was a good game.
There weren't too many Packer fans. It wasn't like the Vikings game where it was a purple invasion, but thankfully they did go up to Nashville. Literally, I don't just mean the Vikings went to Nashville the next week. All of the Vikings fans traveled from
Also went
Everbank
to
Stadium
Nashville.
to Nissan Stadium. So
Yeah.
no hard feelings there. From Captain on the MyBookie Digital Studio chat line, if Shad Khan doesn't make changes, I will be throwing all of my season ticket money in dollar bills at the Kismet.
Oh, I'll be there ready to collect said money. Shad
Yes.
doesn't need that. I'll take it, though.
Yes.
All your season
Yes.
ticket dollars.
I'll have one more real quick because this one said this season is 769 said this season is by far the worst ever for me, and I say that because this team has talented players in spots, but Balky has screwed up our depth on this team and wasted picks drafted based on traits instead of talent, and free agents that either don't fit or are purposely playing out of position. So there's frustrations everywhere, and we try to identify where the issues start. I mean, I've said for a long time, you have to start at the top.
Can they fix it if they don't make changes? I don't have an answer to that question, obviously.
Well, someone did text in and they said it would be the most Jaguar thing for them to win the next 5 of the 6, and then
it's like fake
think and then think it's like fake fall, which now I think we're officially in fall, maybe, possibly.
But can you actually? I don't think so. I truly don't think that next year, if it's Trent Baalke, Doug Peterson, Press Taylor, Ryan Nielsen, this product will look any different. I can say, and maybe I'm an outlier on this, I can say that I think if you let go of Press and Ryan and keep Doug, coordinators could change things next year. But you would need somebody who has more say in the offense and says, let me run my offense the way I want and not do this like it's our offense thing. But you definitely need changes in the coordinating position because clearly your defense got worse from last year after firing a defensive coordinator. And I know it's not all Press, but there's definitely been a lot of glaring issues with Press Taylor and not just here.
Here's why I would push back on that, Taylor. Doug Peterson hired Mike Caldwell. He wasn't a very good coordinator. And then he hired Ryan Nielsen, and he's not a good coordinator. So why am I going to trust the head coach to hire a third defensive coordinator?
And that's why I don't think he can. But I was just saying, like, I think that Doug with two good coordinators would be a different product. Can that happen? I don't think so because I don't have the confidence in him being able to find those or letting go of Press.
Right, and that's certainly something that we've talked about in the time in Philadelphia. He was told he needed to let Press go. He decided not to, and left with him, and now obviously same situation here. Not same situation. We think that maybe there's been a conversation saying that he needs to let Press go. We have no idea because, of course, we don't know what the owner's thinking. All right, time to make some money.
Now, Mia's Midday MyBookie picks. Experience the Vegas thrill from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie.
We got one NFL, one college football, one college basketball, one NBA single game parlay, and I'm going to throw in one more college football, folks, in this week's MyBookie Midday picks because it is my lock of the week. Let's begin with Thursday Night Football, where the Pittsburgh Steelers, this one still surprises me. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 3.5-point favorites on the road at 2-win Cleveland. So they're at Cleveland. There's certainly the hook there. Here's the stat I want you all to know, though. The Pittsburgh Steelers have one victory in their last 6 trips to Cleveland. They are 1-4-1 straight up against the spread. And that is why I am taking the Cleveland Browns to pick up their 3rd win of the season and at the very least to cover that 3.5-point spread this evening on Thursday Night Football. Let's head to the college ranks, but let's stay with the midweek theme. Georgia Tech, after a bye, after defeating Miami 28-23 2 weeks ago, will host NC State. NC State coming off of a disappointing loss to Duke, and that is why I am picking the Yellow Jackets to not cover an 8.5-point spread. I've got NC State covering that spread, plus 8.5. So far we've got the Browns at plus 3.5. We have the Wolfpack at plus 8.5 in this parlay. I will throw one favorite in there, though, and it is from the college basketball ranks. Baylor and St. John's in an absolute goodie tonight on CBS Sportsnet. Baylor, of course, enters this game at 3-1. St. John's is 4-0, coming off of the Pitino Bowl at Madison Square Garden on Sunday, in which Father Rick Pitino bested son Richard and the New Mexico Lobos. That is why I will take Baylor minus 2.5 in this game. Baylor's one loss, we all know it came on opening night. Of course, it came under the cover of night because it took place in Spokane, Washington at the hand of a top 5 Gonzaga squad. Baylor certainly has pieces. We knew that coming into the season. They bring in Norchad Omier from Miami. They bring in Jeremy Roach from Duke. A lot of big, significant transfer pieces in addition to a top 15 recruiting class. It always was going to take a little bit longer for Baylor to figure it out on the basketball court, this fall. I think that's the case of any team that builds through the portal the way that they have. But give me the Bears to hand St. John's their first loss of the college basketball season. To the NBA we go. Single game parlay. RJ Saunders, this is where I like to tap into your reservoir of knowledge as our NBA insider here at 1010XL and the host of Open Gym. But I'll throw a couple stats at you first. The Magic on the road taking on your Los Angeles Lakers. He's rocking the Lakers jersey right now. For those of you that are not watching on the MyBookie Digital Studios right now, I'm going to take one player from the Lakers, RJ, one from the Magic. I have Dalton Connect going over 13 points, and I have Jalen Suggs going over 13 points this evening from what I will still call it's the Staples Center. It's not the Crypto Arena, whatever they're calling it these days. The reason I will take both of those, Dalton Knecht is starting to find his groove in the National Basketball Association, folks. He had 37 points last time out, 27 and 14 in his 2 previous outings. Meanwhile, for Suggs, he's averaging right around the 12-point mark in each of his last 3 games against the Lakers. It's also of note that since our good friend Paolo Banchero went out, we've seen 4 of 5 of Suggs' last 5 games see him score in double figures. What say you, RJ?
No, I definitely love the 2 picks. What's going to be interesting in this matchup is I wonder who's going to be ushering that responsibility of guarding a Jalen Suggs. I know that the eyes are going to be on Franz Wagner, what he's been able to do these last few games, but Jalen Suggs has been the consistent number 2 to the number 1 of Franz Wagner, so that's going to be interesting. And on the other side, Dalton Knecht has been a flamethrower unto himself. So on the flip side of that, however, the Orlando Magic have held, if you take away this Clippers game, they have held their opponents under 100 points. So this won't be an easy trip for the Lakers. You do have veteran defenders and guys like KCP as well as Jalen Suggs as well, and others that can switch and maneuver and guard Dalton Knecht. I'm sure he's going to be high on the scouting report. So I like the picks, and I'm definitely interested to see what's to come tonight.
We played the under in last week's midday picks for the Magic. That's a good play as well if you'd rather go that way as opposed to the single game parlay, which I do want to note. It is Dalton Knecht 13-plus points at MyBookie at -179 right now. Jalen Suggs 14-plus points, -232. And of note, while my graphic that we're going to distribute after today's program will show this all as 1 5-6 leg parlay, know that for single game parlays, when it comes to player props at MyBookie, that has to be separate. That can't be part of a larger parlay. And so it'll say so on the graphic. Make sure you place 2 separate bets at mybookie.ag, which, speaking of my picks last week, ladies, 4 of 5.
Oh, there you go.
4 of 5. Those damn Washington Commanders failed me at halftime. It's a 10-7 game. I'm like, this is easy money. Unfortunately, the Commanders were the one leg that busted last week's parlay. One more from the college football ranks, RJ, because I got to get this one off my chest. We talked about it yesterday. For me, it is the lock of the college football slate this Saturday. Normally, midday, midweek picks, we don't give you the Saturday games. We reserve those for our picks tomorrow. Minnesota plus 11.5 at home against James Franklin and the Nittany Lions is free money, folks. It's absolutely free. You need to put it in a parlay. I'll allow you to take it as a single game play. Penn State is a 10-win team. I have watched enough of their games to know they are a 10-win team. Could they still sneak their way into the postseason? Absolutely. Minnesota has already played upset Cinderella before. They were the ones that knocked off Lincoln Riley and reminded us what a fraudulent team USC has been under him earlier this year. And they did so at US Bank Stadium at home. So which by the way, that is kind of weird. It's TCF Bank Stadium, I believe is what the name of the Golden Gophers. What their stadium is, US Bank is the NFL. Either way, interesting, in the same city. We got 2 stadiums. They're both named after banks. Give me the Golden Gophers plus 11.5 as the final leg of this week's Mia's MyBookie midday picks because, man, oh, man, it is coming. It will be spectacular, and I can't wait to see what happens when you couple that with Indiana only losing by a field goal to Ohio State.
Well, we are going to make our picks when we return, so I guess I'll mark you down for Indiana covering the spread. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The home of the home team you grew up with.
You could not stop Jimmy Smith now. For 4 or 5 years in this league.
Looking for Jimmy in the end zone.
Please play him one-on-one.
Jaguars, pride forever. 1010XL.
Are you embarrassed by your ugly, cracked concrete driveway? Need to enhance your home's curb appeal? Stonecore on Phillips Highway is your one-stop shop for all your outdoor needs. Replacing with new stone pavers will transform your driveway into a stunning work of art. Say goodbye to unsightly concrete and hello to beautiful, durable pavers that last for years. Visit Stonecore today and let's beautify your home together. Stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
Mia here for MyBookie. Our listeners have been killing it in a year full of surprises. MyBookie is the one book that's got your back. No fluff, no second guessing, straight up action. Does your other sports book pay out when you push on a bet? MyBookie pays you back. And if you're new to the game and not sure where to start, we've got you covered. Step 1, use our promo code 1010XL. That will double your bankroll with a 100% deposit bonus right from the jump. Here's a pro tip to get you rolling. The NFL teams with powerhouse offensive lines are dominating the run game this year, and betting game total unders has been printing money. Stack that with MyBookie's risk-free Thursdays. Why wait? That's right there, a new risk-free odds boost every Thursday. To find the bet, click the Bet Boost tab and scroll down. If it hits, you win. If it doesn't, MyBookie refunds your money. Sign up now and get your double deposit bonus with MyBookie, the best sign-up bonus for Florida bettors. Bet anything, anytime, from anywhere with MyBookie.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Hey, John, are you ready to cruise into the holidays in style?
Absolutely. The King of Price has incredible offers that you won't want to miss.
That's right. Buy a brand new 2024 Escalade and receive a $3,000 rebate.
Or if leasing is more your style, you can choose a 2024 Escalade or a 2025 Lyric and receive a $1,000 rebate.
It's the perfect time to upgrade your ride and make this holiday season unforgettable.
Visit us at Randy Marion Cadillac on Southside Boulevard in Jacksonville. Plus tax tag title $899 admin fee and resist all on approved credit.
Tell them Jennifer sent you.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On November 21st, 1977, Baltimore Orioles first baseman, future Baseball Hall of Famer Eddie Murray wins the American League Rookie of the Year award.
Brackish Vodka, the official vodka of UNF Athletics, 100% made in Jacksonville, is available at all local liquor stores. Visit Browdy's, Total Wine, ABC, Shores, Golden, Sahara's, Golden Ox, and more. Drink our gluten-free San Francisco Spirit award-winning vodka and see why it's the smoothest vodka you can buy. When you drink Brackish Vodka, you support all of our local employees and all the money stays in Jacksonville. Drink Brackish Vodka and live life slightly salty. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
Oh my God. Oh, what's that horrible smell? Sorry. We've been waiting forever to have our septic tank pumped.
Call Duck Duck Rooter. We don't make you wait.
When you're stuck, call the duck. DuckDuckRooter.com.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. If I know anything about the fall, it's hunting season, it's cooler weather. People need to get off-road. What have you got to offer?
We've got the full line of Honda ATVs, the Foreman, the Rancher. We've got the side-by-sides, the Pioneers, the Talons, everything you need to get off-road.
And you can trick them out with all sorts of extras?
If you name it, you want the loud stereo, you want the cool light bar, we got it.
All right, look online, cyclesofjacksonville.com, or head to the showroom on Atlantic near Regency.
Discover luxury storage life at The Shed, opening soon in Atlanta Beach, for a place to store your cars, boats, and toys. A place for an office, a golf simulator, or a man cave. AC and plumbing available. The list of premium uses is endless. Take a tour on Instagram or go to theshedjacks.com.
Hey, this is Bert Cannon with the First Coast YMCA. Youth sports at the Y can help nurture your future athlete's potential and experience the joy of being a kid. At the Y, we're providing a safe, clean, and fun environment with basketball, soccer, volleyball, gymnastics, elite skills training, and more. Best of all, participation in Legacy Youth Sports League is free with your family membership. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
Jacksonville contractors and business owners, do you need bathroom partitions and accessories? Frank Frangie here. Coyle & Sons has been in business in Jacksonville since 1927. They've earned the reputation of quality and specialized skill. Coyle & Sons are the ones trusted in Jacksonville by the top contractors, and they can stand on their reputation when you need almost 100 years of commercial contractor experience. Coyle & Sons will design it for you. Call them today at 904-356-4821 or visit them at coiljacks.com.
Being an athlete means having a healthy desire to do as much as you can with your body for as long as you can. Gatorade has lower sugar, electrolyte-backed hydration options to keep you rehydrated and replenished. Gatorade, for every athlete.
From Gatorade Zero to Gatorade Endurance Formula and Gator Light, there's something for every athlete. Find it at your local Winn-Dixie. It's a win-win. Gatorade, official partner of the NFL.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Ian Rappaport of NFL Network caused a stir on Sunday morning with a report about potential changes if the Jaguars lost ugly against the Lions. Well, we all know what happened on Sunday, and there have been no changes, at least not yet. Jaguars analyst Bucky Brooks on how that report could have impacted the team.
Just the volatile nature of the report led you to believe something, and I think it has had a negative impact on the team. Now, that doesn't excuse the performance that we saw on Sunday, but you certainly feel like there's a black cloud hanging over the team, and at some point you would like a resolution one way or the other.
Jags analyst Bucky Brooks. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale Lighting, Fans, and Home Decor on 1010XL.
So last week when it comes to the picks, I picked against my alma mater for the first time in my radio career. That did not go according to plan. And Mia, you and I both picked the Jags to cover.
Oh, I went 0 for 3 on Sunday in the NFL after going 3-0 with our college picks on Saturday. I was riding so high going into Sunday morning and thought I'd have a nice little clean sweep here on Helmets and Heels. Not so much.
Yeah, you can tell I'm definitely an NFL girly. Like all year, it's been like my NFL pick. I'm dying after college football, and then I get like a little life from
You had a good
NFL.
week last week, though. You had 4 points, so you went 4-2. And Mia now in the lead, 38 total points. I have 37. Taylor just behind at 33. So it is a tight race, and it's going to come down to the very end, which is a ways away. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it. Yeah, exactly. Look at it. All right, we'll kick things off in Gainesville as Florida plays host to Ole Miss tomorrow. That game begins at noon. The Rebels are a 10-point favorite in the Swamp. I'll tell you right now, I'm not picking against my alma mater again, even though it led to a Florida victory last week.
Don't you want to?
But no, I do feel like
if Florida loses, she's going to say she should have picked against them.
With what I was able to see out of DJ Lagway, with the injured hamstring, so he couldn't run the ball at all, and yet he was able to pick apart LSU's defense that we knew going in was bad against mobile quarterbacks, yet, again, he didn't need to use his legs. I believe now a little bit healthier. I'm not saying Florida's going to beat Ole Miss, although I think it's going to be incredibly close, so that's why I'm going to take the Gators.
There's something to be said for this being a noon kickoff.
But the Swamp will still be electric. It just won't be the nighttime version.
This also, if only in my personal record book, maybe one of the most electric noon windows that we have had all season long. Just so you know, folks.
Yeah, don't make plans for tomorrow afternoon.
You could in the evening for what it's worth.
That's what I said afternoon.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's the crazy part.
Today's Thursday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Saturday.
So,
I'm getting confused
Ole
now.
Miss at Florida.
Normally we do our picks on Friday, but I'm not here tomorrow.
Ole Miss at Florida. Indiana at Ohio State, Wake Forest at Miami, sneaky good game, Illinois at Rutgers.
The Wake Forest-Miami game I don't think is going to be any good. I think Miami destroys Wake.
I do too, but at the same time, I don't know. You never know. It's the ACC.
Who you got, Ole Miss?
I'm going to go Ole Miss.
Favored by 10. Okay.
Yeah, just because I think, unfortunately for Florida, kind of come back down to earth a little bit.
Ole Miss is really talented,
and
too.
maybe make you reevaluate where, I don't know, in the words of a certain Nebraska athletic director, reevaluate where LSU is as a program. But I think that's the spark the Gators need to then turn around, get a win in Tallytown, and become bowl eligible for only the second time under William Napier.
Yes. Princely Uman Mielen, by the way, comes to the Swamp for the first time since he left Gainesville.
Oh, another storyline.
Yep.
And I think that Brian Kelly's a hot mess. I think LSU's defense is terrible. I think Ole Miss defense is light years ahead of what LSU's defense is. I also, when you look at Jackson Dart and what he's been able to do this season, he's completed over 70% of his passes, 22 touchdowns, just 4 picks. I did honestly go back and forth. I'm like, is it more of a touchdown game in my opinion? I don't know, but I'm going to go Ole Miss.
I will say that this team that Ole Miss has assembled, certainly, even though they don't have Quinshon Judkins, I mean, they have some NFL players like all over the field.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The only thing, though, that certainly Gators fans are latching on to, Who did Ole Miss lose to? Well, no, not anymore. Who did Ole Miss lose to? Kentucky and LSU.
Yeah. Oh, well, Lane's last time in the swamp.
Lane's last time in the swamp was back in 2009 when Florida destroyed Tennessee. So we'll see what.
That's crazy to think he's gone 15 years
I know.
since the last time he went to the swamp.
He was certainly in the NFL for a while in that period as well. All right, we'll get it to Indiana at Ohio State. The Buckeyes are favored at home by 13 points. Taylor, who you got?
Oh, man. I'm going to go Indiana. I think Ohio State wins. I think their defense is just going to be too much for Indiana towards the end of the game, but I do think it's closer than 13.
That's a massive number for a team that has defeated all but one of its opponents by 14-plus points.
And in common opponents, Ohio State hasn't outscored the opponents as much as Indiana has.
And Ohio State plays with its food, and Indiana makes you pay if you do that. Give me the Hoosiers plus 13. I know Trent was upset in the other room that I'm not picking Indiana outright. I won't go that far because the game is in Columbus, but I cover my bases by taking the Hoosiers plus 13.
I hate picking Ohio State in anything, but y'all are going to make me do it because I do think that the Buckeyes are a team that they haven't shown us, I think, everything that they're capable of yet this season. And I think they do tomorrow. They know that Curtis Rourke is super talented and that Kurt Cignetti has a team that's undefeated. I feel like they put their foot on the neck of, unfortunately, the Hoosiers tomorrow.
It's funny when you go and you look at people's picks for this one because they're all over the place. There's people picking Indiana outright.
Sure.
There's people saying Ohio State's going to blow them out. There's people saying that it's going to be a 3-point game. It's like everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah, people don't really know what Indiana's made of yet, but it's just also, do we know what Ohio State is?
I know.
I'm leaning towards that we do, but we shall see. All right, Texas A&M, 2.5-point favorite at Auburn. I don't understand why the margin is so small. Like that line.
Do we know who the
surprises
quarterback's going to be for the Aggies?
At this point in
Marcel
time,
Reed?
yeah, I would assume that it's Marcel Reed.
That's the only reason I could see this line being
But he's
what
so
it is.
good.
I know.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I almost wish Cole Thompson's going to join us tomorrow from SEC Unfiltered. I wish it was today.
Yeah.
Because then Cole can give us some insight. Of course, he lives right outside of College Station, so he may have some insight.
Mia, you're picking first.
And so it screams a field goal. So it screams a field goal game is what it does. So I'll take the Aggies just because, Auburn has been horrendous, but also if I'm going to take the Browns plus 3.5 and say regression to the mean and also know that the New York Jets have 3 victories and one of them was on Thursday night against the Houston Texans, that's where I struggle with this one because is this that question of, okay, this is where Auburn comes back to the pack or at least rises to the pack. Mm-hmm. Their only remaining game is the Iron Bowl. I've taken one dog so far. I will take Auburn. How about that? I will take Auburn. I've convinced myself. Give me the Tigers.
I'm just glad that I don't write these down with a pen.
Yeah, I know. You just delete.
I'm gonna go with A&M because I do like Marcel Reed.
Yeah.
Taylor?
Yeah, I'm gonna go A&M too, and that's with the assumption that Marcel Reed's playing. I think the duality of what he can do and the way that A&M can rush is just gonna be too much for Auburn. And when I saw 2.5, I immediately was like, am I seeing this right? Like wiping my screen a little bit.
But it is correct. And so, yeah, there you go. Mia's going to take Hugh Freeze and Auburn. Taylor and I'll take A&M. All right, let's get it to the National Football League. The Vikings take on the Bears in Chicago. The Vikings are 3.5-point favorites. Taylor, since it's your Bears, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm going to say Vikings.
Okay. A little reverse jinx there.
More so,
She's like, no, it's just an educated thing.
I really do hope. I don't know. I'm so torn at this right now. Like, I always want them to win, but also you don't want them to win because Eberflus needs to get fired. So it's such a weird situation. But also, the Bears have just found weird ways to give up games. 3 times this year, Caleb Williams has had the ball in his hand and has done what he needed to do to win the football game, and the defense or special teams has screwed it up. I predict something like that happening again. I'm not terrified of Sam Darnold. I'm scared of Aaron Jones and their run game because the Bears' run defense is not very good. So that's why I'm leaning towards the Vikings.
Mia?
I wish I hadn't just taken Auburn because then I'd be very inclined to take the Bears as a super dog here. Give me the Bears because I do think there is some regression to the mean ahead for Mr. Darnold.
The Bears' passing defense is really good, but I just haven't seen enough out of the Bears' offense, and I think the Vikings' offense does stay on track, so I'm going to go with the
Side note,
Vikings
real
as
quick,
well.
I did a podcast last night with one of the Tyler Fornes. We had him on during the draft to preview the Bears-Vikings, and they're very high on Sam Darnold, first of all, but also he was talking about Cam Robinson because I was asking about how they thought, like what they thought about Cam so far, and he was like, honestly, like there's some games where we're watching or some plays where I'm like, man, this guy could be one of the best left tackles in the league, and other times I think I could be a better left tackle than him. That's what the guy said.
Welcome.
I was like, seems about right.
Welcome to the experience.
I mean, I don't recall that many plays where I've thought, like, man, he's terrible. But there are plays that you think to yourself, like, why didn't you look as good as you did on the play before?
Yeah.
That's more. I can't recall, like, him getting pancake blocked or anything like that. All right, let's get it to the Packers playing host to the 49ers. The Packers are 2-point favorites over the Niners. I think this is one of the toughest games to pick all week. Mia, I'll start with you.
The game is in Green Bay. That is important to note. You could also dash the Niners' playoff hopes, not completely away, but largely away. If they win this game, their odds of making the postseason remain over 50%. If they lose to the Packers, it drops to 15%. Give me Green Bay.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Packers as well because I think the 49ers are one of the most banged up teams in all of the NFL. Taylor?
Yeah, I'm going Niners.
No surprise.
Yeah. The Niners have won 8 of the last 12 against the Packers. Like how the Packers are with the Bears, just find ways to win. The Niners have kind of been their kryptonite in those situations. Jordan Love has 8 straight games with an interception, and the Niners are really good at getting the ball, too. So I just think that George Kittle has this extra fire under him. He hates the Green Bay Packers so much. You saw him post about it yesterday. I just hope that all of that's enough to bring in and force Jordan Love. I honestly, watching Jordan Love was just not impressed whatsoever, to be honest with you. And I think that a team like this will be able to take advantage of those moments.
All right, and finally, we normally don't pick Monday night games, but I'm not here on Monday, so we will. We've got the Ravens and the Chargers. The Los Angeles Chargers are at home in the Harbaugh Bowl, yet the Ravens, the Baltimore team, traveling 3-point favorites. I will tell you, I'm going to go with the surprise upset. I'm going to take the Chargers at home.
Oh, okay. Interesting. The Ravens lost this past week, much to my chagrin. So give me the Ravens to bounce back.
I know, and that's like the only reason I want to go the Chargers so badly, because I think the Chargers defense is really good. What Jim Harbaugh has been able to do. Justin Herbert's just looked like a whole new person. Ladd McConkey's having a season, but it's so hard for me to say that the Ravens aren't going to come back after that loss and not pull out a win in this one.
They had such a low-scoring game for the Ravens last week, too, which has been surprising. But, all right, so to recap, I'll take Florida, both of y'all Ole Miss, and I've got Florida covering 10. Indiana, Ohio State, both of y'all have Indiana covering the 13. As far as A&M, both Taylor and I think A&M wins outright by 2.5. Mia believes Auburn will cover that. The Bears, Mia has them covering the 3.5 at home against the Vikings. And then Mia and I both have the Packers winning at home. They're favored by 2. And finally, Ravens, Chargers. Both of y'all went Ravens. I went Chargers at home. The Ravens are 3-point favorites. All right, those are our picks. But when we come back, we will chat with the special guest, Amy Trask of CBS Sports. Joins us on Helmets and Heels on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
This is 1010XL.
The place is amazing. They got the whole 9. It's ranked as the greatest place to work at in America.
Where every day is a dream come true. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Why buy from Hodges Mazda at the Avenues? Because they strive to ensure a satisfying and comfortable car buying experience. And now they're giving back. Hodges Mazda wants to say thank you to all educators, first responders, and healthcare providers by offering a complimentary oil change and car wash during the Mazda A Season to Move You event. Lauren Brooks here. Call Hodges Mazda today or schedule online at hodgesmazda.com. Come experience for yourself the Hodges Mazda difference. Free oil change not to exceed $79.99. Excludes diesel vehicles. Expires December 31st, 2024. See dealer for complete details.
Hi, I'm Chuck Farah. We know how important it is for you to have a vehicle after you've been injured in a car accident. So when we represent you for your personal injury claim, we'll help you get a rental car from the insurance company while your car is being repaired. And we'll provide this service at no additional fee. If you're hurt and you've got no car, let my team go to work for you. Farah and Farah, protecting you and your family. Call us at 396-5555 or go to farahandfarah.com. Jacksonville.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here. Let me tell you a little something that dawned on me last week. Awaken 180 isn't just about weight loss. Obviously, that's the main goal. It was for me anyway. Other people see me now, they comment, hey, you're looking great. I tell them it's Awaken 180, and they ask more questions. My answers are simple. When you start eating better, when your body starts operating more efficiently, your numbers, I'm talking about your medical numbers now, they're going to start to look better. I went to my doctors last week to get a biomedical screening. They check out everything. Guess what? My good cholesterol is in the right range. My bad cholesterol is in the right range. Whatever the heck triglycerides are, they're in the right range as well. And it's all thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss. Have a goal? Maybe goals, plural? Awaken 180 can lay out the roadmap to help you reach them, like they've done with all of us here at 1010XL. Call 844-346-1800 or schedule your consultation online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Our most popular meat combo is ready to grill this season. Pounds and pounds of marinated steak tips and chicken, fresh ground beef, and homemade sausage. Just ask for the sampler combo.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
Get down to the bank Sunday, December 1st, when the Jaguars go head-to-head with division rivals, the Houston Texans. You won't want to miss our My Cause, My Cleats game, when your favorite players get to champion causes close to their heart by wearing custom-designed cleats. Lock in your seats now for a 1 p.m. kickoff by calling 904-633-2000 or visit us online at jaguars.com/tickets. We'll see you there.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, Director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 5-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now graduate making over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or no student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost are the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org, and you can apply there.
Apply by May 23rd.
Save money this holiday season. Buy pre-owned. That's right, pre-owned guns, guitars, surfboards, tools, and especially jewelry. Beaches Jewelry and Pawn is here to help you save. Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach. Online at beachesjewelryandpawn.com.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
David Garrard here. Playing in the NFL can put a lot of wear and tear on your body, especially your knees. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has kept me mobile and ready to tackle every day.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialist, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
Best Bet is number one. That's right, Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine have one-card poker, the fastest and easiest card game to learn and play. Play one card at a time, and the highest card wins even money. If the card values are the same, it's time for war, just like the game you remember. You must be 18 years or older to play. Learn all the games at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
There are 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and if you stay in your home long enough, a new roof. Pick it here for our friends at Lockhart Roofing. Nobody better in Jacksonville. How do I know? They are a local certified Master Elite contractor, and that means they have a GAF Master Elite warranty. That's the best in the roofing industry. In this day and age, don't settle for cheaper discount roofers. Lockhart Roofing has been here for decades. They aren't going anywhere. Call my friends at Lockhart Roofing, 994-3851. That's 994-3851. Lockhart Roofing, Jacksonville's best for Jacksonville people.
I-9 Sports covers the First Coast with great sports for kids 3 to 17, and winter and spring registration is open right now. New girls volleyball and flag at Duval Charter, plus plenty for boys and girls in Nocatee, too. It's all at i9sports.com. Enter 1010 in the promo code.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. Brought to you by Prize Picks. Miami Hurricanes get back into play this weekend after their bye week, taking on Wake Forest for an afternoon contest on Saturday at home. Miami will be in the search for the win to reach the ACC Championship game after losing their first game of the season 2 weeks ago. Hurricanes defensive coordinator Lance Guidry spoke to the media on the importance of the bye week.
So when you start talking about these guys that have injuries that are preventing them from practicing, but they're able to play, who are we practicing at receiver? It's been a challenge to be creative in terms of how you practice and how you get guys to the game healthy, but also in shape. Because what's happened at wide receiver is our number of reps have gone up for the guys who are getting the reps in the game. So their volume has had to increase.
Hurricanes and Wake Forest in the Hard Rock Stadium at 12 o'clock on Saturday. It's 64 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time in temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. And we're excited to welcome in Amy Trask. She's now an analyst on CBS Sports. Also, former CEO of the Raiders and author of You Negotiate Like a Girl. Amy, thanks so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to join you and appreciate the invitation to do so.
Absolutely. So around these parts, we thought we would be making our postseason plans now that we're almost to December. But obviously, instead, the Jaguars are 2-9 coming off of one of the worst losses we've ever seen in NFL history. So, Amy, as you approach this from your former CEO hat, would you have made changes this week to the GM, the head coach, or maybe some coordinators?
You know, there's pros and cons to making changes in season. Certainly Shad Khan's comments before the season, which he reiterated once the season began, about his expectations for the team, about his evaluation of the roster being at its best. You know, those resonated with me as someone who worked for a team. You hear what team ownership says, and those were powerful, strong comments. So I certainly won't be surprised if he makes changes, but there are pros and cons to doing so during the season.
Amy, when we're talking, when you're having that conversation, because obviously when you still have football to play, and that's just kind of what it is, even when things aren't going your way. And we here on radio start talking draft a little bit, start talking if firings are happening in the building. What are going through minds? Is it still just let's keep it day to day, worry about the game this weekend? Are there still these talks about ultimately what does happen at the end of the season if you are a 2-9 team?
Terrific question. And the answer is a lot of different things are going on within the building, depending on the area of the organization about which you're speaking and the individuals in those areas. There will be some people in organizations which are faced with situations such as the one you described who are worried about themselves. Uh-oh, do I need to start looking somewhere else? Uh-oh, if there's a house cleaning, am I going to be one of the people that's cleaned out? There will be people in the organization that are just going to be content, and that's a bad word to use because it implies that I don't like it. They're going to be confident, is a better word, in just putting their head down and doing their job as best they can and effectuating their responsibilities to the organization as best they can. And there's going to be other people who just don't know what to think. Everybody in the organization is going to confront this differently. And in large part, it depends on the area of the organization in which you work.
Amy Trask of CBS Sports, former CEO of the Oakland Raiders, is our guest on the Garber Auto Mall hotline. Amy, staying on this topic a little longer, I'm curious, from the perspective of those people in the building, also your perspective as having been a decision maker in the NFL and now being on the outside, is there some responsibility on the owner to, if not in the public media sphere, if only in the building, to issue some sort of statement so that everyone knows which direction the franchise is headed one way or another at this juncture?
Well, if the ownership knows the answer to that question, that's one way to evaluate what ownership should do. but ownership may still be deciding what to do, in which case there can always be a conversation about, hey, no decisions have yet been made, and there can be updates. I'm fond of saying, and I believe this with every fiber of my being, ultimate authority and ultimate responsibility always rests with ownership of the team, and that applies to other businesses as well, because ownership can delegate responsibility, ownership can delegate authority, and can delegate it entirely. But at the end of the day, ownership has the right to take back any authority and responsibility delegated, proving the point that ultimate authority and responsibility rests with ownership. But it may be that ownership doesn't yet know the answers to those questions.
Amy, we know that there are other cities that with NFL franchises that are also going through these types of disaster seasons. You've got the New York Jets, you've got the Cowboys, along with the Jags had higher expectations as we sit here today. If all of those jobs, well, obviously the New York one is already open, but if the Cowboys and the Jags also fire their head coaches, which one is the most attractive?
Oh, boy, it depends on a whole lot of factors. And I will say something with a big smile on my face because as someone who comes from the business operations and a business background, I will say, wow, both Texas and Florida have no state income tax. And, of course, that's not necessarily relevant to the decision, but it just struck me immediately. Wow, we're talking about two non-income state tax states. You know what? Both have their perks. Absolutely both have their perks. There are pros and cons to every single head coaching and GM job. But remember this, there's only 32 of those jobs. And I heard a discussion yesterday, I believe it was, of people saying, oh, boy, who's going to want to go to the Jets? Well, the answer is this. Demand for those jobs is always going to exceed supply. So, again, from a business standpoint, supply and demand, 32 jobs, more than 32 people want any of the openings. They'll both be sought-after jobs if they are open.
Amy, I want to pivot over a little bit to the on-field product and what we've seen recently with some of these young quarterbacks, for example, and we see struggles early on with some of the guys like a Bryce Young who gets benched, comes back out, has a couple wins. Anthony Richardson, similar. Then we see guys who are kind of having this resurgence with the Baker Mayfield and a Sam Darnold who just weren't maybe given a fair shot, go elsewhere and able to succeed. But what have you seen when it comes to young quarterbacks? We see different things. Greg Olsen went on about how they're just not under center enough and it's more technical like that. Tom Brady says they're rushed out there. What's your opinion on some of these early struggles when it comes to these young quarterbacks now?
Well, I think both Greg and Tom make great points, and I will add to that. Let's go back in time to when the current collective bargaining agreement was initially put in place, which I think was around 2011. I was in the league at the time. I was there when we implemented this CBA, and it has evolved over time. But one thing remains constant. Now, with a shorter line to free agency, teams aren't able to sit players the way they were before this current crop of CBAs was instituted. In other words, back in the day, as is said, you could sit a quarterback for a while. Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre for a while. We used to see quarterbacks being given more time to ready themselves and acclimate themselves to the pro game, which is different than the college game. You can't do that anymore under the current CBA. And by the way, this is something that a number of us saw coming and discussed at the time that this CBA was initially implemented, which is, okay, faster road to free agency, different paths in many business regards. You're not going to be able to sit players as long as you could, and I think we're seeing that. But you make another great point, which is a lot of how a quarterback does at the beginning of his career and throughout his career depends not only on the skill of that quarterback, but the team around him. How's your defense? Is your defense holding opponents to very few points, in which case the burden on you to score a whole lot is not as heavy as if the defense was giving up a lot of points and you needed to go score? How's your running game? How's your pass protection? A lot of how a young quarterback does depends on far more than just the quarterback.
So pairing a couple things together, Amy, and knowing what you just said, I'm fascinated to get your response to this next question. When it comes to the upcoming NFL draft, as of right now, and to bring it closer to home, as of right now, the Jacksonville Jaguars, if the season were to end today, would have the number one overall pick for the third time in 5 years, something no team has ever done. There are many in this town who are clamoring that the Jaguars would get a king's ransom for that first overall pick, despite the nature of this upcoming NFL draft class when it comes to quarterbacks, and perhaps it being more of a pick your flavor, but there's flaws to each of those prospects. But from what you just said, do you believe they would get a king's ransom solely because with the nature of the CBA, the idea of having a young quarterback on a rookie deal is just so tantalizing to teams financially?
Well, you just said it perfectly. I don't know that I can add a lot more to that. Teams are very, very enamored with the concept of getting young players for not a lot of money. But one thing I always point out is sometimes getting that veteran and spending more money because you know what you're getting is more valuable than taking a draft pick. Look, the draft is not a science. There's no Rosetta Stone. There's no Enigma code. That's why there's players in the Hall of Fame who went undrafted. So if you can get a ton of picks, I think you ought to look very, very, very hard at saying, yep, give them to me. We're going to figure this out through free agency.
Certainly. All right, Amy, we really appreciate your time today. We'll be listening to your podcast, What the Football. And of course, I wanted you also to elaborate on your book, You Negotiate Like a Girl, because obviously as females on this show, we certainly want people to not regard us as female only, but as sports fans. So I wanted you to elaborate a little bit on that.
Well, thank you for mentioning the book. And I'm smiling ear to ear at your comment, which is you should be evaluated on merit and how you do. And that should be without regard to gender. I was actually going to name the book Without Regard to Gender and talk about how Al evaluated me without factoring in my gender and the fact that that is how I wanted it to be. But I named it You Negotiate Like a Girl because of a story I share in the book about You Negotiate Like a Girl. And in that story, yeah, you know what? I got the highest price ever for that which we were negotiating, and I slammed the papers down and said, like a girl.
I love it. We absolutely love it. Amy, we really appreciate it today.
Such a treat for me to join you. You guys do a spectacular job. Your questions are always phenomenal. I love joining you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much,
really
Amy.
Appreciate it. Yeah. There she goes, the analyst currently on CBS Sports, but former CEO of the Raiders. And like I said, the book, You Negotiate Like a Girl, and the podcast, What the Football. When we return, Taylor Dull has a tangent. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
This hour of Helmets and Heels is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers. 1010XL takes you inside the program director's office with Dan and Jeff.
There's a code of ethics in the broadcasting business that you young punks wouldn't understand.
Mornings.
About loyalty and respect.
On 1010XL.
What if he fails?
He's out on his ass.
Be a year for MyBookie. Our listeners have been killing it in a year full of surprises. MyBookie is the one book that has your back. No fluff, no second guessing, just straight up action. Does your other sports book pay out when you push on a bet? MyBookie pays you back. And if you're new to the game and not sure where to start, we have you covered too. Step 1, use our promo code 1010XL. That'll double your bankroll with a 100% deposit bonus right from the jump. Here's a pro tip to get you rolling. The NFL teams with powerhouse offensive lines are dominating the run game this year, and betting game total unders has been printing money. Stack that with MyBookie's Risk-Free Thursday. Say what? Yep, that's right. A new risk-free odds boost each and every Thursday. To find the bet, click the Bet Boost tab at the top and scroll on down. If it hits, you win. If it doesn't, MyBookie refunds your money. Sign up now using promo code 1010XL and get your double deposit bonus with MyBookie, the best sign-up bonus for Florida bettors. Bet anything, anytime, and from anywhere with MyBookie.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
When it comes to towing products, your safety on the road is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Whether it's a heavy-duty tow hitch, trailer frame, wiring, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjax.com to explore a range of products and schedule your installation. Cannons of Jacksonville, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro Jax Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at projectsroofingfl.com.
When you're injured, you probably have more questions than answers, and all you really want is to feel better. This is Joe C., and I certainly can identify. Well, thanks to Rebound Rehab, I bounced back from a serious case of ankle tendonitis to feel pain-free. They can do the same for you. 8 locations across the First Coast and a team of physical therapists ready to help. From laser and radio pressure wave therapy to aquatic and massage therapy, they can offer real solutions to help you rebound. Log on, reboundrehab.com, and start your path back to pain-free life.
Mia O'Brien.
Don't I know you from somewhere?
On Helmets and Heels, noon to 2.
I swear to you, I know her.
Then there's the 1010XL video and social media channels.
I would know her voice anywhere.
All Things Mia is driven by Arlington Toyota.
On 1010XL.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
Stop letting high-interest debt weigh you down. Pay it all off in days thanks to Loan Pronto's new Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Prosser here. Imagine a completely hassle-free way to cash out your home equity. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan uses an AI-driven tech to get you approved for cash in as little as one day. One client got $100,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out their debt, launched a home improvement project, and is now saving over $1,000 a month. Instant approvals, low fixed rates, fast transfers. Get cash to consolidate all your debt and get a fresh start for the new year. Call Loan Pronto now and see how much you qualify for. Imagine this time next week, you can be credit card debt-free. Call 904-999-1508 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, MLS, consumeraccess.org.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. And Greg, when you start to shift from warmer weather into some cooler weather, you can get on the road. What has Honda got to offer?
Honda's got a bunch of great bikes. They've got the new e-clutch technology, which means you can ride without using your clutch.
And I love the fact you can go automatic on a bike, which was unheard of for a while.
It was for a long time, and Honda has mastered it.
You can log on, cyclesofjacksonville.com, see all they have to offer, or drop by the showroom. They're on Atlantic near Regency. That's Cycles of Jacksonville.
Mark Watson here to tell you a little bit about hardballcreative.com. It's your online promo haven with thousands of ideas on how to promote your company. We're open 24/7, 365.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
A lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to website CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com and let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Light up your lunch with Helmets and Heels.
Presented by First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Taylor Dahl, Mia O'Brien, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. We're listening to a little Chris Stapleton. Did y'all watch the CMAs last night?
Of course. Male vocalist of the year to no surprise.
Chris Stapleton's song White Horse is one that I wouldn't say was like super popular necessarily, but it won Single of the Year and Song of the Year. I was just a little surprised because that song didn't really take radio by storm like some of his other ones have.
Were you surprised to see Cody Johnson won Album of the Year? I was a little surprised.
But
the CMAs historically, and obviously, you know, I will leave my bias at the door that I did once upon a time intern for the Academy of Country Music. The CMAs, historically speaking, tend to be more of, I don't want to say not a popularity contest, but much more what the folks in Nashville are thinking, if that makes sense, and that may be different than what the mass American listening audience thinks.
Yeah, I will say as a country music elitist or snob or whatever category you want to put me in. There are some artists and some songs last night. In general, I'm like, that's not country.
Sorry, Post Malone. Although it was a beautiful, the lyrics, the lyrics were
it's
beautiful.
not country, and again, I'm not going to get on my high horse or my whatever and say this is country, that's not country. Like they get to choose what genre they play. We play one song on here all the time that's really not all that country. Is Shabuzi, but it's a fun song. But again, when I watch things like that, I'm always like, okay, this I like, this I don't like. Yeah.
But there's even like country artists who will have songs that don't sound so country also. And
For
so
sure.
that's
Thomas
what
Rhett is in that category
yes,
for me.
Yes. And there's a lot that we could name.
I could go for days. We could turn this into a country music whole podcast. But we won't. Taylor Dell has a tangent. We'll keep it on sport.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
Let's start with the giveaway. We have lunch. Lunch on the ladies, lunch for two to Chick-fil-A. Give us a call at 641-1010, and you could get some free chicken nuggets to go enjoy at lunchtime. I am going to switch here. I've done a lot of football tangents recently, and I'm going to switch a little bit over to the baseball world.
Did you give a caller number?
Did I?
Yeah. Did
yes. I'm just kidding. Caller number 2.
Okay.
Sorry.
Normally,
They're
I
all
see
like,
the
when do
phone
I
lines
call?
light up, right, and they didn't yet. So I was like, I have a feeling we forgot.
641-1010, caller number 2.
There you go.
So baseball world, obviously the big topics right now. Juan Soto, probably the biggest topic. And I heard Dan and Jeff talking to D. Murph the other day about that and like how long do you think we're gonna wait? Is somebody gonna jump on this? Is he gonna sign soon? He pretty much was like, I don't think we're gonna wait as long as we did in like the Bryce Harper year because that was it was just awful waiting to see where it was just month after month it felt like. But he did say, he wants to, there's certain teams that I'm sure he has a feel for that he wants to go to, and he wants to give all of them the opportunity to talk to. He's going to make like $1 billion, so it's nice for him.
It is going to be crazy if the contract is over $1 billion.
I know. Insane.
At some point, if it's not this deal. If it's not this deal, it's the next one.
Yeah. But NL Rookie of the Year, Paul Skeens. Congratulations to Paul Skeens. I'm not sure anybody would have been surprised about that, but I saw the tweet, and it's from Baseball King. If you don't follow Baseball King on Twitter, you should because they post a lot of stat stuff, but also just like fun, quirky, more entertaining stuff in the baseball world. But he said, did Paul Skeens just go for the most dominant 512-day stretch in sports history? Won the College World Series, MVP, gets drafted first overall by the Pirates, called up to the MLB in just 10 months, led the league in ERA, is an all-star in just 11 games, announced as an all-star starting pitcher, named NL Cy Young finalist, NL Rookie of the Year. Oh, and by the way, if you want to throw in that he's dating Livy Dunn.
I was going to say, did they throw that in or not?
Yes, they did.
Which
Okay,
also,
good.
did you see them when he got the award?
Kind of awkward.
I was like, I don't know if it's because he doesn't want the PDA or because he's just so stoic about it. Like, she's like...
Yeah. But he also was like, I think he said like, it's cool or something like that. It was a very just like base answer.
Right.
They were the game day celebrity guests a couple weeks ago.
And he was very baseline.
Yeah. But I mean, that is just what a stretch to go on in a year and a
They
half.
didn't even put that in there. Celebrity guest picker.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of other accolades that you could honestly throw in there for Paul Skeens this year. But it's cool to see, and we've had this conversation of how we've started seeing guys from college baseball get called up quicker and be successful in Major League Baseball quicker.
Yeah,
and I
Wyatt
think it's
Langford,
great.
I feel like literally like showed the way.
Yes, and I think that's good for both sports. I think for I guess one sport, but both leagues when it comes to college baseball and when it comes to Major League Baseball, because for so long it was kind of like you draft a guy and you wait years and like maybe you'll see them, maybe you won't, and you have to kind of follow. They're like in triple and then back to single and then back to double, and you're kind of waiting. And so the college baseball fandom, you get these players that you're excited to see, and then you feel like you never really see them, or it's so long that you kind of forget. And then in the baseball world, you're excited because you draft these guys that you've been following along with, and then it feels like forever. And so it's cool for both worlds to kind of collide in this way where you're getting able to, a baseball fan can kind of just have this gradual slide of being the fandom from college baseball to the Major League Baseball.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. I have a counter. Caitlin Clark. We have seen it in the last year and a half in one other instance. However, she did not win the national title in college. She did not, while certainly bringing Indiana, the previous worst team in the WNBA, to the playoffs. She did not advance them beyond that measure. She didn't win player of the year, or what would be
You're
the
saying all the
equivalent.
things she didn't do, so she didn't do all of the things that Paul
I'm
Stamps did.
trying to downplay the fact that as you were describing his 18 months Taylor doll, I couldn't help but think, no, I've seen this script before. But in the effort of once again leaving my bias at the door, as I've already done once this segment, just going to say that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you would
His
definitely
football
put
team
her...
lost on Saturday, though. I'll just throw that in there, Paul
Yes,
Ski.
there you go, Paul. Yeah, I mean, I think Caitlin Clark is probably the closest that we would talk about being that. I also
what about
think
Jaden Daniels? He won
You could make that
He didn't win the national title by any means, but he won the Heisman. Now he's one of the best rookie quarterbacks.
Probably win Rookie of the Year
in the NFL. He
Yeah.
might win.
I mean,
Rookie
we'll
of the
see.
Year.
I think that recently people have started losing. They were like, okay, things caught up a little bit. So I am interested to see how the end of the season goes for him in Washington in general, because I feel like the start of it was like, oh, this is an incredible year, and the last 3-4. Honestly, probably 6 weeks have started to slide down a little bit, and you're starting to hear other names in that Rookie of the Year talk. So I saw them talking about Lad McConkey yesterday, actually, in that realm. But it will be interesting to see the end. But I think and especially NFL rules the world here in the United States. So obviously, if you're somebody who's able to do that in that world, then that is going to be the biggest topic. And I think that's in the same world, like Major League Baseball is bigger than the WNBA, so it is going to have a little bit more attention in that realm. But to have these people that you can cheer for and then 2 months later watch them be 6 or 10 months, however the seasons happen, watch them be able to be successful at the next level and like that, it's really fun for both levels.
Yeah, poor JJ McCarthy. I feel like he could have maybe been in this conversation, helped Michigan win the national title, gets drafted by the Vikings, but of course the season-ending injury happened. But I wonder I don't know if he would have been starting over Sam Darnold at this point. But
I don't think he would have.
It would have been an interesting conversation if Sam Darnold throws multiple picks in a game, which we saw here in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
If JJ was healthy, at that point, does Kevin O'Connell say, well, I'm going to try my hand at this guy if Sam had started the season?
Interesting point from 690 off the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures, which, of course, please get in on the conversation. Leave us your name at 641-1010. With NIL, it will replace the minor leagues and guys skipping college, making them older and mature when they get drafted in a quicker call-up factor in Major League Baseball. And it's an interesting point because that right there, it's so fascinating. And I actually just listened to, what's this? Why am I blanking on his name now? Just retired. Was with Eric Hosmer. Eric Hosmer was on South Beach Sessions with Dan Le Batard. And he talked about how when he was drafted 3rd overall out of high school, he had no choice. First off, he didn't want to go to Arizona State, not because it isn't a great place to hang out and play baseball, but because he was not a student. Secondly, his parents needed the money.
Mm-hmm.
And so he makes the decision to go right to the minors and forego college. Now, there's other people in that scenario where they could turn around and say, I am going to still go to college and I am going to live this lavish lifestyle as a college athlete as compared to having to live in the not so great accommodations that often accompany a minor league lifestyle for the first 3 to 4 years. And he talks about, being stuck in Burlington, Iowa, and what was the other one in Lake County in Illinois, and playing in 20-degree weather, and there's no heat in the locker room and that sort of thing. You don't have that in college baseball. And because of the NIL dollars, you could basically say, I could go to Major League Baseball and make this much money, but I'm also going to make this much money if I go to college for 3 years. I get a college degree, and I get the money that I would have gotten. And that's going to be a very interesting conversation to have.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I never even thought about that, but we've talked so much about how the NIL is factoring into so many things. And when we were just talking to Amy Trask, and she was mentioning those CBA conversations when it came to, they knew at that point that it was going to affect things happening with the quarterbacks in the future, with contracts, and how that was going to affect teams. So these people are smart enough to know when they're making these decisions that you're not just making this something that's changing right now. In the future, it's going to start kind of knocking over some dominoes and things are going to be changing. And NIL is one of the biggest things that we've seen in any sport to massively change it in that factor.
Baseball has often been thought of as the one sport that's the slowest to progress. Like, we did see massive changes a few years ago as far as the rule changes. But overall, people in the baseball community, the baseball writers are stodgy. They don't like voting unanimously for people to get into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Baseball overall, I think it was just a kind of an unwritten thing, an unwritten rule of well, you have to earn your stripes, so therefore you are going to go through that minor league baseball. We want to harden you up before you can make it to the major leagues. We don't like to see someone be super successful in college or in high school and immediately go to the pros and earn a lot of money and get all that stardom. Like, they want to keep people down. And that part of the conversation does make me think of the women's pro basketball players and Caitlin Clark, as far as like, they didn't want her to come right into the league and be successful. They wanted to kind of keep her down. But it's all a fascinating conversation.
Do you think it will change at all across other sports? I guess football's a little bit different because it's kind of like, I mean, maybe certain players may be able to make more in the NIL, but if you're getting drafted, you'll probably be okay. But like you, obviously, Mia, follow college basketball very intently. Do you think there'll be people, the few people that we have seen skip college and the basketball world change with the NIL dollars?
I do. And I think that you will still see, especially on the men's side with the overtime elite and those additional non-traditional ways of using that 1 year that is required by the National Basketball Association before you matriculate in order to be eligible to be draft eligible, whether that's going to Australia or playing in Europe or whatever it may be. You will still have those that say, I'm not a student and I'm going to go that route, even though, let's be real, Cal has to travel to Duke on a Tuesday. Like, you tell me how much of a student they're actually being, but that's a story for another time. I do think because of the dollars and cents, you will see that. What I have seen so far in college basketball on both the women's and the men's side has been the traditional college basketball player who may not translate to the next level, either the W or the NBA. That is the player who is staying and earning a boatload of money, whereas in a previous era, and certainly the COVID year and the fifth year transfer, like a lot of that, and the transfer portal, that all factors into it too. Those are the players that I am seeing cash in more, which is healthy for the sport of college basketball because that's somebody who otherwise would go to Europe and you'd never hear from them again. But because they're saying, I'll keep coming back as long as I can because I know that I can make more money here, that is actually healthy for basketball because then you actually have that name recognition of players as opposed to brands and coaches.
And also pay for play is coming, so they're going to make even more money in addition to the NIL. All right, one megastar athlete is taking a break from social media. I like it. I'll tell you who that is and why I like it. On the other side, one segment to go on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels. This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers. Wherever you go, we go.
Those are the rules. I didn't make them up.
Download the 1010XL and XL 92.5 FM apps for free on Apple and Android devices to listen anywhere in the world.
Maybe the key to the whole plan. Get in?
Got it.
Good.
Yo, what's happening, fellas? It's your boy E to the T, and I'm going to keep it real. We could all benefit from a little something extra in the bedroom. Blue Chew can help. Now I'm about to tell you how you can get some for free. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in a chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. No doctor visits, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew ships right to your door in a discreet package. Not even them nosy neighbors gonna know what's going on. Blue Chew's licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredients and strength for your prescription. And did I mention the chewable? Just like popping a Mentos. And they're made right here in the good old US of A. Now you're asking, how do I get my Blue Chew? Visit BlueChew.com and make sure to enter promo code 1010XL at checkout. Try it for free and just pay $5 shipping. Turn that oh no into a oh yeah. That's right. Use promo code 1010XL and let your boy hook you up with some Blue Chew. Get your confidence back. Visit BlueChew.com.
Imagine driving a late model Corvette, BMW, Mercedes, Lexus, Honda, Chevy, Ford, and more, all at a fraction of the original sticker price. Visit Vaughn Motor Group's indoor showroom and browse a great selection of dream cars that are inspected with warranties. Before you make your next auto purchase, check out Vaughn Motor Group on San Jose Boulevard or at vaughnmotorgroup.com for a complete inventory listing. If you can dream it, you can drive it at Vaughn Motor Group.
Bolt City AC, heating that rules. Is your AC ready for the holidays? Bolt City Heating and Air ensures your AC stays in tip-top shape. We know that a clean AC is a healthy AC. Upgrade yours for just $96 a month and enjoy free duct cleanings with your new system. Plus, ask about our 0% financing options. Bolt City AC, we got the crew. Bolt City AC. Visit BoltCityAC.com.
David Garrard could really spin it on the field.
Garrard fires.
Now he's spinning stories on Jaguars Today.
Okay, yeah.
Brought to you by WaterboyJax.com. Mondays, 10 to noon on 1010XL.
Interested in a unique date night? Gibby here. I took my wife Nikki to Wick a Candle Bar. She made her own custom candle right there in the store. Shop local at Wick a Candle Bar. Locations in San Marco and Jacks Beach.
Ever wonder how you can transform your living spaces into captivating works of art? At First Coast Lighting and Fans, they offer a huge selection of high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness. Visit their showroom on Phillips Highway at the Avenues and step into a world of quality without compromise. Discover the difference that locally owned expertise makes and let them help you experience the transformation from average to extraordinary. At First Coast Lighting and Fans.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, Director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 5-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now graduate making over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or no student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost are the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org, and you can apply there.
Apply by May 23rd.
I've known Glenn Cohen for a long time as a friend and a lawyer. Persistent and fair, Glenn and his firm have represented clients from North Florida and South Georgia for over 40 years in all kinds of personal injury cases. If I had such a case, call Glenn at Barnes, Cohen, and Sullivan.
Joint replacement surgery is always a tough decision, but relief from chronic pain may be just around the corner. Dr. George Barry here, and there's a lot to consider to make sure you get the proper diagnosis and best path back to the range of motion and mobility you had. Age, lifestyle, and overall health all play a part. Let the team at Barry Orthopedics give you a full analysis to help you make the best decision. Log on to BarryOrthopedics.com or call the office to make an appointment. With offices across Jacksonville and ready to help you feel good again, we'll get you back on the road to recovery at Barry Orthopedics.
You don't have to be a football star to get a signing bonus. The team at Republic Services needs your skills, and they're paying up to $5,000 for you to join the roster. You'll be joining a winner. As an essential business, the Republic Services trucks have not stopped rolling with hourly and weekly pay and better benefits and vacation packages than the rest of the league. Driver trainees, $1,000 sign-on bonus. CDL drivers, $3,000. Diesel mechanics, $5,000 bonus. Join the winning team at Republic Services today. Visit republicservices.com.
Equal opportunity employer.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. I've been playing and winning with Prize Picks, and you should too. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with more than 10 million active members. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch your winnings roll in. Think Brian Thomas Jr. will get more or less than 80.5 yards? It's just that simple. And now you can win up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money as quickly as 15 minutes. Now, here's the best part. Prize Picks is the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy. That means your lineups stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code JAX, J-A-X, and get $50 instantly when you play 5. It's all there at Prize Picks. Run your game.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars rookie wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. spoke in the locker room earlier this week and was asked about how he's feeling physically after 11 weeks of his rookie season.
I'm still feeling good, still feeling great, just ready to finish out the season. I'm ready. It's been good so far. I just want to keep getting better each and every week, just be the best that I can be.
BTJ was asked how he's dealing with the uncertain future of the Jaguars coaching staff.
I try not to even look at that stuff like that. I try to just keep my head down, stay focused on the task at hand, and just keep pushing, get better each and every day, be 1% better each and every day.
Jaguars wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Taylor Dahl, Mia O'Brien, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. LeBron James tweeted this out last night. Or no, yesterday afternoon. And with that said, I'll holler at y'all. Getting off social media for the time being. Y'all take care. Peace sign. And then the crown. Because he's, of course, the king. I appreciate an athlete in the midst of their season taking a break from social media. And I know I'm sitting here talking to the social media director of 1010XL, multimedia director over here with me. Like, I understand how y'all perceive social media versus maybe how I perceive social media. But as far as the athlete's perspective, in a season that the Jags are having, I saw that the social media account yesterday, the Jags official account tweeted out, like, shuts laptop till Monday. And I'm like, I don't even want to scroll through the comments that are coming from angry fans when you're saying we're just going to take the time until next week because it's the bye week. I do think that social media can directly influence athletes and the negativity that they receive if they're not playing well or if a team's not playing well. And I fully support if you want to take a break during the season and just shut it down until after the season, by all means, if that's going to help you and where you are mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally.
He'll be back.
And I'm not saying he won't. Yeah. But
like he'll be back sooner than later.
Like next week.
Like he will be back.
Well, not specifically LeBron, but do you understand my point?
Yeah, and I think everybody's different when it comes to social media. Obviously, certain things get to people more, and some people can shrug it off, and some people don't hardly look at it. They have it, but they'll open it once a day and scroll through. Some people are very active on their social, and they'll go back and forth. I know one of the guys, Jaquan Brisker in Chicago, will go back and forth with fans constantly all day. That's who he is, and like some fans hate it, some fans love it.
And isn't he the one with the concussion?
Yeah, he's on IR now. I think it's something with his neck because it's literally been at this point like he missed 6 weeks, then they put him on IR. So, and it looks like season, they're talking about potential career. So it's something serious. But he's just and like, he's fine. Like, you never see him get angry with fans. You never see it like affect his game. But he's one of those people who it almost fuels him. Like, he's like, talk to me. Like, give me your trash talk because it makes me want to be better. Some people aren't like that. Some people hear it and it offends them and they feel like they have to shut down. So I think like to each person their own, like they can kind of handle it a little bit differently.
Like if I was Tyreek Stevenson after that time when the Bears lost to the Commanders, not the Jags, and he was like taunting the fans and stuff like that, like I feel like I would have had to take a break from social media right after that because of all the criticism I was
and like I feel like a lot of people would. He came on and tweeted immediately, was like, I'm so sorry, like this is my fault, I lost that game for you, I'll never let that happen again. And like, so there were people in the comments that were not very nice about it, and there were some were like, thanks for owning it, and that's just part of the social world. I'm fine. Like, I'm fine either way. I'm fine with the people that kind of chirp back. I'm fine with the people that are like, I don't want to be involved with this.
There are right now more than a couple dozen players in the National Football League that are scrolling the internet right now. And they are looking for your hateful tweets because they want to harness that energy. I can tell you from personal experience, I tweeted something about Anton Harrison last year going against Kansas City Chiefs and going against the Kansas City Chiefs and Chris Jones. Did not tag Chris Jones, and somehow Chris Jones found my tweet, and it wasn't, anything to offend him or Anton, just saying like Anton felt like he learned this, and this going against one of the best pass rushers in the league from the interior. And Chris Jones found my tweet and quote tweeted and said, super impressed with this young man. Like, he's going to do great things. Like, how does Chris Jones find that?
Searches his name.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's why, again.
And that's what I'm saying. Some people do. I'm sure there's also several athletes that would never search their name because they don't want to know what people are saying about them.
But there's a lot that do, so don't be fooled.
They're competitive, and they some of them do feed off of that, like the just kind of going on and saying like, okay, let's see some of these things that are happening. I know Mac Jones, I think last week was like, I don't have social media. Like I don't, probably it's not part of my world. Yeah. Did you see the DeJuan Jones one? His quote tweet he had of somebody. So there was a show, the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. And on the show, the guy said, it was like, is DeJuan Jones a player the Browns can depend on going into 2025? And this guy kind of goes on this rant about how he's not anybody like you could really count on. He's also overweight and da-da-da-da. Like, this guy also himself is a little overweight. And so DeJuan Jones quote tweets it and said, I think we both have a weight problem, but I'll be better this offseason. And I was like, those like good, like I honestly love those little moments. And that's why I am glad there's the athletes out there that want to like feed into this stuff. But I completely understand the ones that are like, I don't want any, you guys are crazy. And also I put a lot of work into this and you have no idea how much work I put into this. And so sit to Mia's thing earlier, like in your basement and do whatever you do. But I think it's just how you handle things, and does that turn into anger? Does that turn into fuel? Does that turn into sadness? It depends like what type of person you are, you know?
Yeah, I went back and looked through some of my tweets because I was curious when it comes to the Jags. I was curious how many times that I've said, like, you can't make this stuff up or you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah,
and it was so often. But I realized I'm not usually super hypercritical of players on social media, maybe on radio, honestly, probably more than I am on social, just because I get in my head, like, I wouldn't want someone being super critical of me that I could read and that everyone could read and react to. But that's just me. We've talked about Samantha Ponder and how obviously she was the lead host of the NFL show on Sundays, and ESPN later off in the off season. She hasn't been on social media once since that day. Not on Twitter and not on Instagram. And she used to be on both of those, certainly with her family and stuff on Instagram. Hasn't been on there once since they laid her off. I feel like that speaks volumes.
Oh, on the flip side of that, then you got RG3 who was laid off on the same day. And he leans
like
in. He started a YouTube channel. Like, ultimately, look, if you have the luxury to avoid it or to pivot, by all means, my tip of the cap to you. But if you want to be in this media space,
it's part of the world.
This is part of what you sign up for.
Yeah. And that's why I think that there are people, and it's not just obviously like the sports world. There's people that they'll just say, I need a mental break from social media, and they're not even having to do any work on social media. It's just part of their world. And sometimes it's overwhelming. There's a lot of negativity on the internet. There's a lot of mean people on the internet. And so sometimes that just overwhelms people, or more so annoys people. Like, why do we all have to be in this sense? Let me just step away from it for a week. And I see that from friends all the time. Like, I'm getting off Facebook for a month because you guys are driving me nuts. I'll be back in a month. Like, see you later.
I also think that like to your point, Taylor, for some people it causes more negativity than it does positivity. Like, obviously it was invented and created a long time ago. Facebook, I feel like, was the first to be somewhere where people could connect when they don't live in the same town. Like, I feel like that's where it originally started, is more of like hey, we went to high school together, now we live in different states. Like, let me
How are you doing?
Right. Let me see
That's
how
a
you're
cute
doing.
baby.
Yeah, cute puppy, cute baby, whatever. And now I feel like we've pivoted to where, obviously, in the last month or so, it became incredible. Well, not even just last month, but several years, it's become super political. People want to stay sometimes away from that. Or like you said, there's just a lot more hatred when it comes to it. But we'll see. I feel like we should take a bet on when LeBron James is back on.
Oh, yeah. Next Taco Tuesday. Next Taco Tuesday. No doubt. No doubt.
All right, RJ, let's cool down.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
Another round of applause, RJ, for our friends at JU. The college basketball world is still buzzing about their victory over Virginia Tech on the road last night. Far from the only marquee game, though. Alabama bouncing back after going to Mackey Arena last Friday and losing to Purdue. They hosted Illinois in Birmingham at a quote-unquote neutral site, but not really neutral site game. Blasted them 187, but trust me, folks, this one was a 30-point game in the first quarter. Again, I just take this opportunity to cool down and thank you, the men's and women's college basketball programs that are not scared to schedule these non-conference games. And ditto to the college football programs, because to bring this conversation full circle, what is the slight on Indiana right now? Oh, well, their non-conference wasn't that difficult. They didn't schedule anybody. That's because when the schedule was created for 2025, Kurt Signetti wasn't even the head coach at James Madison yet. He was at James Madison for 5 years. And I think that it's important to note that when it comes to football scheduling, it's so far out in advance. Basketball, it's not, though. Basketball, you can change that non-conference over the summer prior to that upcoming season. use that opportunity. Don't be afraid to schedule those games.
That is part of what kind of annoys me of like certain criticisms when we're talking about teams, because these games are scheduled out so far ahead. In like college football, for example, people will be like, oh, well, their schedule sucks. I'm like, okay, well, first of all, they tried to schedule hard opponents. It's not my fault that Florida State fell off the face of the earth this year, and now that's counted as like a crap win. It's not my fault that USC all of a sudden fell off the face of the earth. So those are the things that start to frustrate me, because you look at when you schedule a game in 2027. I have no idea, unless you're obviously like Alabama, Georgia. Like, you know what those teams are going to be most likely. But a lot of these you don't, and they have their ups and downs, and it's a team can win 13 and then win 1. Like, it's just what it is.
But specifically to Notre Dame, people would say, well, that's why you need to get in a conference, because then at least you'll have like the standard opponents each year. But at least you have, for the Irish, you have Army and Navy, which elevate actually the schedule this year. When you played Navy, I think they were ranked.
Yeah.
And because they were undefeated at that point in time. And then when you play Army this Saturday, and you're a 2 touchdown point favorite, I saw.
Over Army.
Notre Dame is
really?
over Army.
I
Even though
looked at
Army's
that
also undefeated.
Yeah.
But yeah. I'll cool down by how we started the show. If Shad Khan makes absolutely zero changes between now and the start of the 2025 Jaguars season, it's not going to be pretty. I am sometimes the most optimistic person when it comes to the teams that I love, and I don't know that I can find that much optimism outside of, well, the key pieces, like we talked about yesterday, that you have to build moving forward. At least you still have Trevor Lawrence and Tank Bigsby and Brian Thomas Jr. and Anton Harrison, and certainly some young players defensively too. But I don't know that I could find that much optimism to say, yeah, the Jags are going to be in it to win it next season.
Yeah, we did the our little exercise yesterday with the expansion draft and which 5 offensive players and 5 defensive players. Mike Dempsey came in and was like, we kind of want to use that idea. It's a good idea, but we want to go just like one side of the ball and focus heavy on that. And he said he wanted to do defensive, and I was like, yeah. I was like, honestly, I was kind of struggling like getting 5, and he was like, meaning like dwindling, and I was like, no, like offensively I couldn't find 5 that I for sure wanted to like build a franchise around. And he was like, me too. And I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of sad. Honestly, kind of sad. But I want to cool down with another quarterback, I guess controversy. I don't know, this guy's been benched now, but I just saw a tweet about Daniel Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Is it time for them to just like let him free and hopefully find some refresh somewhere? Because in this report, the Giants had Daniel Jones playing scout team safety at one point during practice today, according to local media. And then, so they said at this point, they might as well just release him. He's doing what he's told, which like credit to Daniel Jones. But what are we doing?
I know the team across the way could be interested up there in the New York metropolitan area.
The Jets would be interested in Daniel Jones.
Hey, listen, Woody Johnson's out on AA Ron.
Yeah.
They'll take the next warm body.
It does feel like they're trying to embarrass Daniel Jones.
I know.
And
Like,
I don't know that.
why?
He's not necessarily a good quarterback, but I don't know that he deserves the embarrassment. All right, so I'm off tomorrow and next week. Thanks to y'all for holding down the fort. The next time I'm on air will be December.
Wow.
How did we get here?
I know.
2 and 9.
Honestly, it's crazy.
I mean,
Birthday
at least
month.
it starts to
That's
feel
right.
a little bit more like December outside.
Yeah, and we are less than a month away from being in Vegas, by the
we
way,
are.
which is crazy to think about,
Yes,
too, because
big
when we
time.
were planning all of this in like the end of July, beginning of August, it felt forever away. And now in 1 month, we'll be at Circa Resort and Casino having a blast. Like, well, I guess the Jags we were hoping would be better, but it will be college football playoff weekend. So at least we'll have that.
Yeah, this day, a month from now, December 21st, will be the college football playoffs, so that'll be fun. All right, that's going to do it for us today. For Mia O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you tomorrow, but don't go anywhere.